I want to do an introduction for YouTube. First thing I need to do is, in the first scene, I need to define what the problem is. So, my first scene is, who am I? The first thing I'm going to do is wear a suit and tie. That's who I used to be. I used to be a software engineer. I would go in, I'd do troubleshooting. Companies would hire me and pay me a good income to go in and fix problems that nobody else could fix. That was who I was. That was my identity. I was hired because they had real problems. But I retired recently, and then I'm going to cut and switch to me wearing essentially what I usually wear around the house. It was a t-shirt, some hiking pants, no shoes. That's who I have become in the last year and a half, 2 years. And, and basically this is who I am now. I'm too lazy to even put shoes on. I have no incentive. Why bother learning new things if I can't show it to people? I mean, a lot of the reason I used to learn new things in the past was because I might be able to talk about this during an interview, or I might be able to use this at work. That drove me a lot in my adult life. And I don't have that anymore. So what I'm looking for in the introduction is a quick, this is who I was, this is who I am right now. And then I want to cut to more a shirt like this and maybe a nice pair of pants, that kind of thing. And that's going to then, I'm going to kind of talk to, this is who I want to be again. No suits and ties. I don't want to go back to that, but dressed up a little bit. And the problem is, what's going to drive me? What is going to help me to solve that problem? So there's my first scene that sets the problem. So what I'm going to end up doing is, after that introduction, I'll be standing by the chair or in front of the chair, and I'll go through that quick clothes change. I imagine that's only about a minute and a half of talking. Then I'll go into scene 2. I have defined my problem. I want to get back to a feeling like I'm working, and back to a feeling like, hey, let's get cleaned up and ready and do some work. And I think the videos and that will help me with that. And that's where then the sequence comes in. This is how I'm going to reason it. What will push me to dress up a little bit? When I have friends over or family, I want to look good. I want to clean my house. That's one way of pushing it. Well, if people see me, if people are seeing my home, that will definitely motivate me to clean my act up, to clean the house up. So that's my solution. I want to bring people into this house. Well, how can I do that? Basically, I'm going to invite you. That's enough. That'll do it. I'll want to put a good shirt on. I'll want to clean my beard up a little bit. I'll want to shave, whatever. So there's my solution. I'm going to make videos. So making videos will motivate me to do the things that I feel I need to do to be healthier and happier. So that moves me on to the next scene, which is a new problem. Now I made a decision how I'm going to satisfy my old problem. Now I have a new problem. What kind of videos am I going to make? One of the things that interests me a lot is storytelling. I mean, I'm part Irish. My grandfather was a great storyteller. I am not so good at it. I need work on it. It would be fun for me. I'd like to learn how to tell a story. I think making these little stories will help me better understand a bigger story, how to write a novel even. I want to structure all of my videos with the very basic storytelling structures. Generally speaking, a story will define a problem. It will then figure out a solution, which is basically what I've been doing here. I defined my problem of not being motivated. My solution was to bring people into my home to force me to be motivated. And then testing the solution. Well, in this particular case, testing the solution is going to be, I have to make those videos. So I'm not there yet, but I'm on my way. On a failure, if I fail to accomplish what I plan to accomplish, then I should try a different solution. Try to solve the same problem, or even find a different problem do a different solution. If it's a success, that's the end of the story. Hey, I accomplished the goal I was setting out to accomplish. That's the basic storytelling cycle that any story you look at is going to go through. It has a beginning, a middle, and an end. It has a defining period where you define what the problem is. It has a series of solutions which succeed and fail. And then in the end, one of those solutions succeeds and suddenly the story ends. So what kind of stories? Well, I like traveling. I like to go to other countries. But I'm going to have a problem with that because normally when I go to another country, I'm perfectly happy just going to a spot on the street or a spot in a park and just sitting there and listening. So for me, I like to just go and sit and do something like that. And I guess I could call that location scouting. I'm writing a novel. I need these locations. I want it to be real. I want it to give me things. So I could call that location scouting, but it's not a story. Doesn't have a beginning, a middle, and an end to it. So part of the problem I'm going to have with all of this stuff is how do I make a trip overseas into a story? What problems do I have? What kind of solutions do I come up with that would be interesting? What's the end of the story? I mean, sometimes you can just say, well, I'm climbing the mountain and, the struggle to get to the top of the mountain and then finally you're there and here's the view. I mean, that could be a story that would work with traveling. But what about everyday traveling? So that's one section I want to work on is travel stories. I also want to tell some stories about my past. There are things that I went through, problems that I overcame that I think are going to be valuable to other people. I definitely have stories I can tell from my past that might be helpful to people going to college or trying to study on their own, things of that nature. I came up with some really good solutions to those problems. Oh yes, in writing stories. I want to be a writer. I want to be a novelist. I want to be able to sit down and write a full-length novel. I've tried twice now and I have failed both times. But yeah, I want to talk about, I might, under story writing, I might very well do some location videos. Just me sitting there with this camera or one similar to it and just videotaping an area, going back to the hotel at the end of the day and writing a description of how it felt, what it looked like, how it felt. That might be an exercise that I consider valid for those kind of videos. Of course, the basic studying of plotting, scene sequences, all of that stuff, I want to talk about that, definitely. My goal is to write a novel, and that would be the concluding thing in my summary that I'm going to put on YouTube, is to say, my goal is to write a novel. Yeah, that will be how this script runs. It's a 3-scene script, closed changes to indicate the change in my lifestyle today. That's the motivating factor of my little story for the introduction. My solution to use the videos and the audio, to use these mechanisms to bring people into my life, force me back into the pattern of getting ready for work. And the trouble, and that raises a whole new slew of problems writing for these videos in a way that I'm going to bring story into it. That is what I want my YouTube channel to be. I have to make it a story. If I don't make it a story, it's a failure, as far as I'm concerned.